broadcasting up on.
From an undisclosed cornfield in the Midwest United States, this is the Rev Report.
Well, folks, I'm back again for your listening pleasure. You have docked yourself into the mysterious world of the Rev Report. Once again, for the most extreme talk show, ex-member of EXS Radio, here to bring you the news. The news from ChunkTVLive here on Friday nights. We'd like to tell you all hello and welcome to the show. We have Chunk in Studio 1 and me in Studio 2.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Rev Report.
Here in Cleveland, Ohio. And the first thing I'm going to talk about here is pretty extreme. This group called Anonymous. Well, they've gone too far. Why have they gone too far? Why have they gone too far? Well, you know, they basically, what they did is they hacked Donald Trump's computers and got his social security number and tweeted that out on their tweet page. And then they decided to go even further and put his address of where he lives. Obviously, you all know he lives in Trump quarters. So, you know, obviously he has other places he apparently lives. And they said that they are going to have an open war against Donald Trump because they do not think Donald Trump would be in. I really don't know who or what is paying Anonymous. Obviously, they're being paid by somebody. And I've heard that there was an ex-member of an elite hacking force back in the 90s started this Anonymous group after he watched V for Vendetta in his office and decided to put the mask on and start doing anonymous reports. And then there was another group called the Teller Group, and they were starting to wear the mask as well. The anonymous groups don't even know who the real leader is and where they're really getting their money from. So it could be from the Democratic Party telling them, go after Trump hard or not. And then what they did was an anonymous terrorist group, which is probably associated with Godlike Productions. They sent a powdered Kool-Aid substance to Eric, Donald Trump's son, and told them, Eric, that if his father does not drop out of the race, that they're going to kill off one of his family members. And Donald Trump's rebuttal was, kiss my butt. And now you've gone after a billionaire who, imagine Donald Trump probably has enough hackers to track down Johnny Anonymous, who is part of this group that has filed war against me because I tell the truth and that I'm a Trump racist, apparently. That's what was going around in the Anonymous world. The Anonymous has been after the Rev Report for some time because I talk about the black subjects of the world. Donald Trump did win. He did win Florida and Missouri, and John Kasich won Ohio. The Democrats, Bernie Sanders did win one county in Ohio. Thank God, Bernie, you won one state. There wasn't as many Hillary. I think it was like 6 or 7 counties maybe for Hillary, and the rest was for Kasich. So Donald Trump might be doing a plead vester with the old Donald Trump or something. I think he's going to need to talk to Kasich here. So I don't know. And the next story is about UFOs over Cleveland. I was working out in the southern part, which would be between 71 and 77, and north would be Lake Erie. And there's these white orbs I actually have video I could post if you wanted it. And this one was filmed today. It was this orb. You could actually see the two orbiting lights that were in it. They were basically making it a gyroscope that would stay in one area. The guy recorded it. He said it stayed there for over an hour. He was working outside by the Ohio Bell building in downtown Cleveland, Ohio. It's where they were having the Republican convention. And this thing was just ovulating right above there for over an hour. Then he said it just faded away. So obviously this thing was having some technical difficulties. The ones I was seeing were these like orbs, these pin orbs. They're round silver like discs, like a raindrop. And they would go behind the cloud and disappear, and then sometimes they come back the other way from the cloud. I was seeing that. And we have surveillance. We're upping our surveillance in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and I imagine they are practicing as well for riots here in Cleveland. We didn't even really riot for the Tamir Rice thing when the cops killed the people, but we have had UFO reports over the Key Tower during a peaceful rally. That was in 2006. My friend Sam Phillips was a gentleman that he recorded this kind of orb traffic basically when we were having protests of the war. This basically same daylight UFO was the exact same MO. We do have an underground facility under our Lake Erie, as well as the DOD sure knows about it. They have a truck or a train trestle that goes throughout the country through the middle parallel, which goes dead center in the middle of the country, where all these UFOs reported. There's a tunnel network. And then the one tunnel network goes up through Wright-Patterson, up into the northern part of Cleveland, and then out to the underground facility. There's two entrances you can get into the underground facility. And each where these two underground facilities are been UFO orbs. They dance around. They do the triangles show up. These drones that my buddy saw were chasing them off. They send drones, certain kind of drones after these dark energy, and then we have the actual good ones. They were fighting one time when my buddy was having a stroke on the ground, and they were fighting over where he was at in Parma, Ohio. Parma, Ohio has the crookedest cops in the world, and they have a group called the Cleveland Ufology Project, and they are in that range too, and they have a man called Tom Workman that is the MUFON leader of the whole area of Ohio. So it's like a conflict of interest, and I've given MUFON Ohio a lot of these orb information, the red orbs, and was supposed to have gotten the red orb case, but I guess they felt the need to give it to MUFON, which is MUFON the government. So I didn't take on the case, and they didn't want to give it to me. So, and my next story is the dark clouds over Cleveland or actually it was the southern part of Cleveland, 303 quadrant. What happened was something exploded, basically exploded over the area, and it was like raining down. It looked like there was a big fire, but there wasn't like anything in it. And then you could see the bottom of that dark cloud there that you see. It kept that whole cloud went from it reversed triangular. It went, instead of going east, it went back west for a while. It just kind of roamed around the whole little area for a while. Clouds were going up above it, and once I got like near it, I was getting black raindrops. Maybe 3 or 4 on my windshield, to the point where it would like smear my windshield a little bit. That's when I snapped a shot from my window. When I washed my windows to try to snatch it, and then it kind of just blew back out over Lake Erie and kind of dissipated. It was weird. Now what they're doing is called, that's where I just cleaned out my windows, pulled my windows down. That you could see out was like this. To the left, it was just this blob, and it was just raining. You could see how it's not like falling apart at the top, falling apart at the bottom. It's just raining down. Then someone sent me these pictures in the area of, it looked like a horseman was up in there. This is even looking like another lower front funnel cloud that was raining down. It was raining down black crap from it. obviously whatever it was. Obviously, that's not a tornado. That's that's where basically it started. And this is the Horseman here. This is over in the way southern part of the state. And it looks like some kind of horseman that's in the sky. So this is biblical prophecies possibly coming abold through the intelligent network of the sky people, writing and doing artwork in the sky for us. I was seeing all kinds of sky work art when we're working the other day on St. Patrick's Day. The sky does an art project that no man. I mean, you can actually see it's kind of like two horses actually in here. This is brand new, just got sent to me right before the show. So you're definitely having this intelligent organization that's above us that is trying to tell us something. Obviously, who knows what it's trying to tell us. But the UFOs, in the last 3 days, I've actually gotten communications with some people I haven't heard from in a while. And they're contacting me saying, well, we're seeing a lot of UFO chatter on our field. And these are like UFO Roundtable down Dayton. These are a couple other people that are not associated with MUFON, and they call me or they'll leave me a message on these certain spots, and they're saying they've been getting an uptick, the same kind of uptick we got in March 2008. We had a flap that actually got on the news here in Cleveland and CNN, MS, and our group Cup went on there and kind of downplayed it, but I was on the edges of Lake Erie trying to get a view of these orbs that were coming out of the lake, and I really didn't get a good sighting of them, but wherever I was, it wasn't a good spot. The third night when I went out on the other side of town towards the power plant on the other side by 55th, okay, and then this is. I don't know if you can get, but you can see it's way down there at the end, that like little light. This is some guy that's standing in front of like a couple streets down from me with a laptop, like a black laptop, like an alien hard laptop, pacing back and forth down the street. This is just after I got a weird text saying, "Come out, you little blah blah blah," and then he went back across the street, like he was doing like a grid pattern down the street. Up the street, down the street, and he didn't come down towards me. So I yelled out. I said, "Hey man, what are you doing? You looking for me?" I had my hat on, and he kind of looked at me, and he quickly bolted across the street, almost got ran over, and then he ran into in between one of the houses, and after I got across the street, I couldn't find him. I'm repeatedly getting people that are finding my phone number out, texting me that anonymous groups and GLP groups wanting me to lay down my crown and not talk about it anymore. And the next one is about Fukushima. What happened in Fukushima is they've now got a report out that they can't even find the fuel rods. The fuel rods melted into a point of like a pool, basically, and then all that material just melted off into the underground crust of the plant, the whole plant, within a mile radius, and all absorbed underneath the plant, which is almost like just past the water table. And they don't know how they're going to get it out, where they went. And how they're going to... It's still absorbing into the Pacific Ocean. We're to the point where we're getting readings in Washington, Oregon, Nova Scotia, all the way up to Alaska. That we are getting cesium-113, sodium FR7, which is a byproduct of using radiation to basically heat our water. The fuel rods are completely missing if you check it. Same thing as in America. We have the New York power plants that are leaking as well, just not as bad as Fukushima. He's got this posted up there for you on Vaughn. With $13 trillion they've wasted so far trying to clean up this mess, and they still don't have it under wraps yet, folks. They are having a serious problem getting rid of the cesium water. They are trying to still communicate and get power going in the area after this quake that happened in 2011. They're actually now going and trying to do alternate power sources than nuclear. Underground pools, over $18 million for these huge, massive pools of contaminated water they have. Giant underground pools stored contaminated water. This is a problem that's going to continue to happen, and it's going to start to happen in the United States here pretty soon. TPO is the group out there that's working for the government, and they're being hush-hushed about what's going on out there at the Fukushima plant. And now I got to talk about what happened at the Trump rally here in Cleveland, Ohio. Trump came Saturday, right before our elections were Tuesday. He came to this place called the International IX Center. The IX Center is a big old hangar where they built planes and tanks and stuff. It's massive. I mean, you can't understand how big this place is. It's big. It's really big. And he had about, they said 29,000 there, or 20,000 there, something like that, of people that showed up. And they TSA'd everybody walking in, so you couldn't have a vape. You couldn't have anything like that. But in the parking lot, it was like a carnival, folks. There was people out there selling buttons. When we came in, there was a bunch of these Bernie Sanders and just people out there saying that Trump is Hitler and that you're voting for the next Hitler. And they were out there pretty heavy. And there was other Trump supporters on the other side, you'll see in the video coming up, that they were yelling back and forth. Well, some of them leaked their way back up towards first when Reuters was out in the parking lot, I photobombed them with my Hillary for Prison shirt with the Joker on it, and I photobombed them. And they proceeded to get one of their guys to follow me around, the writer guy. He followed me around into the vent. And I got up by where there's a sign that says Hillary for Prison. This guy had a sign called Hillary for Prison. And I was we were all getting everybody really going. And then they had the first pastor come out and do the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag, and then our national anthem. And then we had another gentleman that came out. There's the Hillary for Prison. This guy was walking around. He was really getting everybody going. You can see that this is the background. They're giving out Trump signs so that you can put up Trumps. I got a Trump sign in my front here, and he was really sticking to Hillary. Trump really hasn't talked about Hillary yet, but he's due to, since now Anonymous and all this other crap's going on. So so what happened was that's the entrance, and then where the TSA is. The TSA is in front of it, and those are how many people were lined up at the International IX Center just trying to get in the door. That's where the lady told me I should put a Trump shirt over my Joker shirt. So I bought a Trump shirt and put it over. And then when I got in, I put my bling back on and my shirt back on. So that when I walked out, and then the writer guy kind of once I got in there was these people I knew they were going to protest. They just were punk rockers. They're they're socialists. I don't like socialists. I don't know. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like that. And they were kind of talking about that they were an anonymous group. They were an anonymous group. One guy was he had an anonymous a shirt with the anonymous on it. And I knew who they were. And once Trump came up and he started speaking for a little bit, they all whipped out these signs saying Trump's going to bring a great war and Trump's going to do this and Trump's going to do that. And there was 6 of them. So I ran up to him. I said, get out of here. Just get out of here. And then when the cops came, they kind of were scuffling with me and this one guy. And then they finally got escorted out. And then there was a couple people that just put up little signs that say, I'm a protester. And this is when I was leaving the event. This is the guy right there with the beard and the hat. He just thought I was ugh. And then there was this guy from Reuters who was basically, just out there to bring havoc. And I said to him, y'all need to get the hell out of here. And that the New World Order is already trying to take hold. And if you guys keep on wanting to have this Democratic thing. Okay, and now he's going to show the video here. This is people fighting. Okay. Yeah, and you put Trump signs up to get the protesters to leave. Okay, and then they're escorting them out. Okay. That was the one lady that just said, "I'm a protester." She had a little pink sign that says, "I'm a protester." She just wanted to get kicked out. Okay, this is the view area. That lady I actually talked to, and she said she was like, "It's the end of times. Trump is the Antichrist." This guy in blue, he was a Democrat. He just shouldn't have been there. So this is the State Highway Patrol, folks. Yeah. And here comes the sheriff. Hem this guy up good, man. He seems like he was off his meds. Hear me? Go to hell. You want the New World Order? Get the hell out of here. Get the heck out of here. And then that's the new Reuters kit guy right there. And then there's the horses. Okay. Lots of horses. And that was my 5 seconds of fame, I guess you could say. And I would have got more if I stayed, but I had some other things to get going on and doing. But it was a great event. Trump came here and put out a great message, how he's going to, change the world or whatever, or, expose the New World Order, which he has exposed 9/11 Truth Movement, and he's exposed a few other things, which he's done and talked before. Will he bring us change in the ways the government works? Maybe, yes, possibility. Anything better than what we have now, a president that says he's doing a great job, but really he's a socialist. Now, is Trump a socialist? Possibly, yes. Is he not the zeitgeist movement? Yes. He's not the zeitgeist movement, so yes, we do need a change. And Obama said the same thing when he was running. He'll give us change. He gave us change in our pockets in a tax called Obamacare. Other things he did was to disrupt the Muslim Union that he did. He disrupted the way he got different of the groups over there to basically disrupt their capitalist society with all their leadership. You look at Egypt fell, Libya fell, Iraq fell, Afghanistan fell and changed their regime. Syria is just completely falling apart. And who's in the middle of all this? Israel with a big wall. They're the first ones, like Trump wants to build a wall. Israel already did it and built a wall, probably to keep the zombie nation out that's going on in this world. And I got to talk about what I got in a letter. I got a thing in the mail about the governor of Texas. His name is Greg Aborto. And it says, will many of you welcome you to the 2016 Hope for Change movement. President Obama has busy issuing a new executive action restricting your rights as a law-abiding system American, and gun ownership will remain his force in the final 10 months of the tenure that he's in. You may remember this response of the bravery of Texans who battled Gonzales, lightening the Texas Revolution. Let that be our rally cry. Come and take it. So they're basically the governor there is for the Second Amendment, and now with the appointment of this judge, who basically is against the Second Amendment of the United States, and he's pretty filthy on certain views that are not going to help us on the Supreme Court, and they basically saying that this new Supreme Court justice and this governor don't like him either. This governor saying that if you try to take guns away from us in Texas, you're gonna have a big revolt. They already been talking about how they want to revolt against the union and revolt away from the American Union here because of what's going on. this country is slowly being divided in parts for the mass controlling of the FEMA camps that they've been planning on giving us, and they've just been stopping the inevitable. And this Texas governor has been exposing the FEMA camps and kicking these groups that are trying to disrupt his state with all this crap. I've issued and defended the display of the 10 Commandments on the Texas ground. Obama sued them about that, so they can't even have the 10 Commandments out anymore, folks. This country was built on a group of immigrants that were Christians that came over on a boat. A lot of them died. Then when they got here, their first group just disappeared. They fought a one hell of a war over there in Texas through the Alamo and what happened after the Alamo with the Mexicans. We still are. Texas is still pretty mad at Mexico for all that, with all that's going on. How are they going to get the wall built is another story in itself. But I mean, definitely, we got to build a wall of some sort. But if you build a wall, you're building a wall just like Germany built the wall when they built the wall in between Berlin, South Berlin and East Berlin, West and East. They built the Berlin Wall, and then finally it was taken down, of course. When you build a wall, you're just telling people just to stay out. There's people in Texas that say that their immigrants are going through their backyards every day. It's a free border for us to basically walk. So this Texas governor has had enough of this. Their agents aren't giving the free rein to stop these people by, incarnating them in a FEMA camp and telling them, then tagging them, and if they come back, they basically get deported to South America, and so then it'll be much harder for them to come back. The problem is that the drug lords down there have got everything tied up like a bone in the butt. So, and then a lot of these big organizations are going. Businesses are going down to the border of Texas, down there just over the border of the San Antonio area, to build their air conditioners, parts, all kinds of things. So we need to stop the slide of stuff coming across the border here. We need to basically build a wall that can be defended. It can be defended for the great American good. We do need to basically legalize hemp and marijuana if we could, because there's I think it was like 45% of that what comes across the border is marijuana. And then the rest is, your cocaine and your heroin that comes across the border. But if you take that 40% out of the drug dealer's pocket and at least decriminalize it, take marijuana off, number one, we could use that money that we generate throughout the country to build that wall. And we could sue Mexico and go and get our CIA guys to go in there, if you watch that movie Breaking Bad, and go get these trailer full of money and build a wall. Now, the wall that they created is going to be probably concrete, reinforced with steel, and it's going to be pretty high. But they got to make sure that they make a double wall so that the middle area can be patrolled. And basically, if you come across, like what in East Berlin, they were shooting people. If you have to shoot people, it's unfortunate, but they might get the side across that, hey, you got to come over here legally. East LA, you got to come over here legally, folks. If you don't come over here legally, then, that's a problem. But then you have a problem with up north. They have similar problems up north. How are we going to stop that? That's going to be what we got to figure out in this next upcoming election, how we are going to put people to work building the wall, how we're going to bring jobs and businesses to the United States once again. Or are we going to let this whole country go into a boiling point to a civil war which would benefit the New World Order, so that they could bring in their more extraterrestrial things to the New World Order is what they want to bring. They could do that. What else is going on here? I found something else. Okay, and what happened was, you know the guy named Subway, Jarrett? He was beaten up and bloodied in a prison ambush, folks. He got beat up pretty darn good, and for him touching people, supposedly watching pornographic material on kids. But maybe they could take some of his profits and build that wall too. We do have to build a wall, and he got jumped in prison, and what else does it say? He was a child molester, supposedly. A child sex predator. He's in a low security facility. I don't know how many years did he get sentenced for, but Jeffrey Dahmer got it the same way, but he ended up dead. So that's pretty bad. Now, the New York Times reporter was found dead after exposing MK Ultra. MK Ultra was a mind-controlling group. They called it the mind-controlling group of the CIA. Basically, they tried Montauk first. They were using acid. They were using psychotropic drugs to basically put you in a different mindset. And then they were, through the TV, through the radio, and through frequency, they were controlling these soldiers. Well, now they are controlling people through different websites. But the main website that MK Ultra works through is a website called Godlike Productions. And they basically mind control these agents of Fen to basically go out and kill people that talk about MK Ultra. They referred to the CIA mind control. Was the code name given to an illegal program experimented on human subjects designed to undertake by the CIA. Miss Kishis published an article in the New York Times, which the New York Times is owned by a drug dealer down in Mexico, if you didn't know that, in 2000 and shared their demons on the web writing. The article, so this person, this lady, her name was Sarah, Kersah. God bless her. Hope she's doing all right in heaven or wherever she may have landed. But when you talk about the Illuminati and the MK Ultra stuff, they really frown on that. The National Defense Act is legalizing psychotropic warfare. So they're basically, it's legalized to basically in an act of the National Defense Authority at 2013 that they can psychotropically everything. Now, if you look in today's society where they're not having legalized hemp or legalized marijuana, the pharmaceutical companies are giving more and more people antipsychotic drugs like Seroquel, like Ativan, Abilify. Oh, add Abilify to your already growing list of psychotropic drugs. And they're basically making people just have more problems than they're worth when you take that kind of drugs. It doesn't do you any good. I've been on myself on a few of those things. I'm pretty much almost off of them all now. But here's some breaking news, folks. Ted Cruz secretly was the front man of a metal band called Striper. Striper! Yeah, that was where they had that weird like stage, and they were actually supposedly a Christian metal group. I found this on the daily.com, and there's like two pictures. He definitely kind of looks like that front singer of Striper, folks. So you never know. Ted Cruz could be from Striper. Yeah, you never know. Let's see, and and in Toledo, Ohio, the actual city service garage truck is going around and taking the Trump signs down in their city because they don't want to have Trump signs in their city. So they decided to take a lot of them down during the election period. Oh, isn't that special? Yeah, Ted Cruz. Yeah, he is. He could possibly be the metal group Striper. If that's an 80s band. I was a DJ at one time. I played a lot of Striper out there, folks. And let's see. And that's, folks, is about all I got for the Rev Report tonight. Sorry it's a little shorter, but that's what I got, folks. So thank you for stopping by and saying all your, anybody that stopped by and didn't get to see it. Thanks for Rockin' Rebel, Ricardo, and Chunk TV for being in there in the Chunk Room. And Electrical Wind and Shatters, Rockin' Rebel, and OCCU, LT 3D, and we had a VIP actually in the room as well. Thank you for all showing up for the Rev Report. I'll be here at 8 o'clock. As we get on, I'll have more of a topic show or more topics to talk about. But normally I usually do about a half hour. But I'm going to try to get some more. Sometimes I will have an hour's worth of stuff, but most of the time about a half hour. And thank you for coming out to ChunkTVLive. ChunkTVLive is streamed on StreamMRE, Vaughn Live, and ChunkTVLive.com is their website. We'll be doing a series of reports as well. I'm the Rev. Yes, if you saw me on Reuters, that's where I got my fame and fortune. I used to be on Art Bell's network called the Dark Matters Network, talking about conspiracy theories and where it took me. So I hope you guys have a great night. Chunk, play the music.
By Kevin MacLeod.